Good morning. Great to see everybody here today. So my favorite thing, my highlight of the day so far was everybody got their bags. Was like, oh, this is cute that they're giving out little treat bags. And then when Jimmy came up here and said there was a gift card in them, all of a sudden I heard all these bags. Everybody's like, oh, hold up. There's gift cards involved? Okay, now I got to look in my bag. People weren't worried about it up until then. That was hilarious. Anyways, so we're, of course, Super Bowl Sunday. Hopefully you guys are going to do something tonight, eat some food or something. I don't know. Anyways, here's what I want to know. First off, I want to ask people in-house. All right, so give a little hoop or whatever it is you want to do, all right, or a hand clap or whatever it is. So I'm going to ask you first, if you think, give me a little holler if you think the Chiefs are going to win tonight. Who thinks the Chiefs are winning tonight? Yeah? Okay. All right, who here thinks Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are winning one? Wait, who thinks the Bucs are winning? Who thinks? Anybody? Oh, I'll tell you what. Now, outside this morning, which was so cold, but when we were out there this morning, everybody gives a little honk because that's the only way we know if you're in the house, right? So people honked for both teams, but I think the Buccaneers won outside. So I think you guys kind of just leveled it out there. So you guys at home, comment down below. Who do you think tonight is winning the Super Bowl? And honestly, let me ask the real question for everybody out there. Who doesn't care? Give me a hoot and holler if you don't care who wins tonight, right? Okay, all right, see, there's some, I'm kind of in that camp. I'm not a big NFL guy. I love sports. I love football, Buckeyes football all day, every day. But NFL, I've never really super gotten into it. I just hope everyone has a good time tonight. That's all I'm hoping for. No, really, though, I do enjoy watching it, though. I'll watch the Super Bowl, and I don't know what's going to happen. I do know this. If it's like less than 6 points and there's 3 or 4 minutes left on the clock, Tom Brady's going to win the game, so please don't let that happen because that's what's going to happen anyways. So just go ahead and call me a prophet because that's what will happen if that's the situation that they're in, okay? But here's the deal. So I like watching sports. I love watching sports with my dad. My dad is actually here. I didn't know he was going to be. He usually comes to the drive-in service, but he's here this morning, and so now I can make fun of him because he's in person, so I don't feel as bad, okay? So we watch games together, mostly Buckeye football games or just college football games. It's our favorite thing to watch together. But it's really frustrating watching with him because I think he intentionally, and you can ask him because I don't know, maybe he doesn't, but I think he intentionally, whatever I think is about to occur or what I think the other team should do, he goes the opposite direction of what, like I say, oh, they should run the ball here. He's like, nope, they need to pass it. They need to pass it. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, oh, man, looks like I think he converted that third down. My dad's like, nope, he didn't get it. It's short. It's short. Like, it's every single time I say he goes against the grain, and I think he does it just to frustrate me because that's just how it goes. But I really do enjoy, we have a good time watching games together. I love watching sports with my friends and my family. And so tonight, be a little different for everybody I know, but still should be a good game. But one of the things that's funny about when I go over to my dad's house is I like to bring my dad into the 21st century with some stuff, okay? And a couple years ago, and a few of you guys probably have these, I got my dad like a little Echo Dot, like an Amazon Alexa little thing for his house, and I got him smart bulbs. Anybody have like smart technology in your house, any smart bulbs or anything like that? Really handy, right? I mean, you can just say, hey, Alexa, turn on the lamp or whatever, and it just turns stuff on, or hey, what you know. So it makes us even lazier than we were before that, right? Okay, so I got my dad that for Christmas a couple years ago. He thought it was the dumbest thing in the world, all right, to get these. And I said, no, you can just tell her, and she'll turn your lamp on and off and stuff like that. And he had 2 lamps, okay? He's got one that's right by his recliner and one by his couch. And we labeled them my lamp and my other lamp, okay? So when you tell him to turn off and on, you say, turn on my lamp or turn on my other lamp, okay? Real simple, right? You would think really simple, right? Well, it takes, after I install all this for him, we're talking 2 weeks later, I'm still getting calls. This stupid lamp won't turn on. What'd you do to this? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm having to go over there and fix it every time because first thing he's doing is he's turning the lamp off and manually, then trying to turn it on with the Alexa. I'm like, no, that's not, you keep it on. He's like, well, if it's on, then how come I have to tell it to turn? I'm like, that's not how it works. And then the first thing the biggest hurdle we had to get over was he thought her name was Alexis. It's Alexa, right? She won't talk to me. Well, because you're not saying her name right. I wouldn't respond if you called me Alvin. My name is Aaron, okay? Say the name right. So, listen, it's a frustrating thing. But in the end, he gets his lamp, and he'll tell you it's dumb, but he loves being able to say, Alexa, turn off my lamp. He loves it. It's the best thing ever. And to be honest, we have lights like that in our house, and it's so convenient and so nice to have. But sometimes when it's dark, you need light, and when you're tired and you need a little rest on your eyes, you want it dark. Jesus talks about lamps more often than we actually talk about. He talks, of course, a lot about light. And he does this right here in between some big stories, and we usually skip over this a little bit in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 11. So we just got done talking about the Lord's Prayer and what it means to pray and what not to pray. And now we're talking about, he puts about 5 or 6 different lessons and stories here in the middle, kind of sandwiches it in between some bigger things that are happening. And that's what we're going to talk about here for a second. And I want to share this part with you that I think is so important that we actually can learn something very valuable for each and every one of us. I want to read this for you guys. Luke chapter 11, verse 33. It says, "No one lights a lamp and puts it in a place where it will be hidden or under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand so that those who come in may see the light. Your eye is the lamp of your body. So when your eyes are healthy, your whole body is also full of light. But when you are unhealthy, your body is also full of darkness. See to it then that the light within you is not darkness." Sounds like a weird statement, but keep that in mind. "See to it that the light within you is not darkness. Therefore, if your whole body is full of light and no part of it dark, it will be just as full of light as when a lamp shines its light in you." So Jesus has now decided to tell this story, and he's giving us a tale of 2 different lamps. What are those lamps? Why does he bring up, there's talking about a lamp and light and an eye, and what exactly is happening here? So Jesus is talking about these lamps, and of course we're not talking about a lamp that you turn on and off, or you can turn off with your Alexa device or anything like that. He's talking about actual like oil lamps they use. Like think like Aladdin's lamp, okay? Looked like one of those, all right? I don't think there's any genies in them, but it's got oil in it, and it would be, the oil would be able to be up there top, and it would be a little light. So you would actually use it as a light back then. And so when he's talking about this little light, he refers to himself as the light. So there's 2 lamps involved here. The first lamp that you see is Christ himself. He is talking about himself in this passage. Do you guys realize that the phrase light, the idea of light, is used in the Bible over 235 times? In the New Testament itself, it's actually referred to 76 times. And here's what's funny. It's half and half. One half of the light references, he's talking about himself. This is exactly what he's talking about in this very moment when he tells us that you can't light the lamp and put it in a place where it will be hidden. He's talking about the light that's given by him. Jesus says, "I am the light of the world. If you follow me, you won't walk in darkness." Jesus says, "I am the light itself." So I am the one who sparks and ignites the light in your life. So when you have that light, when you and I have that light and we partake in the light, we don't just have that light and hide it in darkness, right? We actually all need to be able to shine that. That's the whole reason of having a light. That would be like you guys with your flashlight having to go through a dark place and covering it with your hands and walking through. Why are you doing that? You're trying to see. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you hide it? That's exactly what Jesus is saying here. You have the light. You have me. Use me. Show it to people. Share it with people. Is it not the commandment that he gives every one of us? He says, "Go, preach, teach, and baptize in my name." This was the commandment he gave to every person who claims to be a follower of him. So the first lamp that we see is Jesus himself. So why then does he go into this other talk of another lamp? Because you would say, well, he talks about lamps here and he talks about lamps here, so it must be the same thing. He's actually talking about 2 different lamps here. Look at what he's talking about in the second lamp. He says, "Your eye is the lamp of your body." So now he's talking about your eye being the lamp. What exactly is he trying to get at here? This is very, very important and very, very simple, but very, very hard for us all to live out. What Jesus is showing us here is that I am the lamp, right? And I ignite it into your life. And now your eye is the lamp of your body. In other words, what you see and how you view things is actually going to be the thing that ignites what you are doing in your life every single day. It's a very Christianese word that we use, but the word is worldview. And it means that the things that we look at in our life, what lens am I viewing the world? To what end am I trying to get at when I look at things? What is my motivation in how I see things? Because the way that I'm supposed to, in this world, look at everything around me is through the eyes of the one who gives the light, correct? That's Jesus. And that's what he wants for every single one of us. But here's what's important. He says that your eye is the lamp of your body. When your eyes are healthy, your whole body is also full of light. But when your eye is unhealthy, your body is also full of darkness. See to it then that the light within you is not darkness. See to it that the light that is in you is not darkness. This is important. I told you that 76 times in the New Testament, Jesus referred to himself as the light, correct? Or was talking about light. Half of that is when he's talking about us. We are told to be the light of the world. He gives us that light, and we're to share that light with other people. So when we're actually living that unhealthy lifestyle, when we're having an unhealthy view of things, Jesus tells us that we will be full of darkness. And when we are actually looking at things the way we are supposed to, we are actually able to live a healthy lifestyle that Christ is honored in everything that we do. So what's my whole point? What was Jesus getting at? Why was he telling this weird story of lamps and the eye of the lamp? What was the whole point? I believe that Jesus was trying to get around a very simple idea. And the idea is that we are supposed to see Jesus for who he is. It's as simple as this. Who is Jesus to you? Who is Jesus to me? Because when it comes down to it, all this stuff that we do, we go to church, we read our Bible, we tell people that they should live this way, or we try to get in people's business. But in the end, we have to ask ourselves, how do I view Jesus? Because this is very important. Well, you say, well, Aaron, I believe he saved me. I believe, yeah, okay. That's very obvious from the scripture. But what are some of the things that we are messing up in our life? So my simple question to you this morning is, who is Jesus to you? Is Jesus someone who gives you things, advances you in your life? Maybe you view Jesus as a Santa Claus. You can talk to him and ask for things, and he's going to give those things to you. Or he's going to talk to God, and God say, well, Aaron was really good today, so I guess he's going to get those things he wanted. Or Aaron's been really bad recently. He's been naughty, so he's not allowed to have any. Like, we treat him like a Santa Claus so often. Or maybe for you, maybe you look at Jesus as a punisher. Maybe you've had that hurt and that hang up and that habit and that sinful thing in your life that you seem to not be able to shake off. And so everything that you do, when you think of Jesus, when you see Jesus in your life, all you can think of is guilt. All you can think of is being motivated by that guilt. And you're unable to move past and actually see Jesus for who he truly is. Or maybe, just maybe for you this morning, maybe Jesus is just a story. A great guy, did some really, really good things. Don't really understand it, but, maybe. Maybe you're watching at home this morning, and maybe that question has never truly crossed your mind. Maybe you're asking yourself, do I truly view Jesus for who he is in my life? I think a lot of us have viewed Jesus as something that we need to do because we're supposed to be good people. And I got a news flash for you and for me and for everybody listening. We're not. The Bible tells us that we've all sinned and fallen short of God's glory. Here is where God set the standard, and because of our sin, no one can reach that. No one. I don't care how many good things you do. I don't care how good you live your life. We are unable to reach the Father because of our sin, because of the things that we do. We are guilty of that. But here's what I do know. If we view Jesus for who he truly is, not as this figure that can give us whatever we want, not viewing him as this person who guilts us into serving him and punishes us when we do wrong, and not viewing him like that, not viewing him as someone who's just a really nice guy who had a lot of good thoughts and things that maybe we should live our life by, not just putting him in that box, but truly understanding what he does for us, how he extends grace and he extends mercy. Too many of us view Jesus in the wrong light. And he tells us in his word that when we don't do that, he says, see to it then. Some translations actually say, be careful. Jesus hollers at us right here. And he says, be careful. See to it then that the light within you is not darkness. I love going to the movie theaters. And I really miss it. I can't wait till all the major blockbuster movies start going back to the movie theater so I can go watch a good movie and eat a mound of popcorn by myself, right? One thing I love about going to the movies is it's nice and dark in there. You can get real comfortable, eat your popcorn, drink your drink, and enjoy the movie. Most of the time it's quiet. But have you ever gone to the movie in the middle of the day and it's dark outside, your eyes get adjusted to everything in there, and then you go outside in the middle of the day and you about get knocked over by the sunlight? Why is that? Well, it's just simple biology, right? Your eyes adjust to the dark. Like right now, you guys, when we turn down the lights in here, you're probably like, I don't even know where I'm at. But now, you can probably see really well. Our eyes adjust to the light or the darkness. I'm afraid that many of us, myself included, very often, we get used to the darkness. And we get comfortable in the darkness. And when we see a little bit of light and it hurts our eyes, we tend to stay away from that. We tend to turn our eyes from it. And we don't want to move into it because it's uncomfortable. But look at what Christ tells us. He says, therefore, if your whole body is full of light and no part of it dark, it will be just as full of light as when a lamp shines its light on you. I want to do one last thing, and then we're going to pray. And this is going to be awkward, this is going to be weird, and everybody watching at home, I'm telling you right now what we're doing. Gavin's running the lights for me this morning. Gavin, I want you to do something. I want you to hit the blackout light. I want everything to go dark. Black out the screen too while you're at it. Now, it's not as bad because we have a little bit of lights on, but it's still a little dark. Why don't you turn off the lights too there, Trent? The side lights. Really dark in here. We lose these lights too. Probably can see people around you a little bit. Now, here's what I want you to do. Pull out your phone really quick. Turn on your flashlight. One at a time. They're going to start turning on. Everybody hold your lights up. Now, here you are. You got your lights on. And one light helps. 2 lights help. 3 lights help. Everybody starts getting their lights up, and it starts giving a little more light. I start seeing a lot better. Why does that happen? Because one person is showing their light, and then another, and then another, and then another. This happens because we need to understand that Christ tells us that if we are to be the light that he's called us to be, we have to have a healthy view of him. And so while you guys are holding those lights this morning, I'm going to pray. God, as we've had this opportunity to be able to be in this place and have this opportunity to look into your word, God, I ask now that we would be the light that you've called us to be. God, that you would help us know what it means to not only shine your light, God, but to have a healthy view of you so that we can carry that light into a dark place. We live in a world that needs to find you, and we need to be that light that shows you to other people. If there's anybody here this morning that maybe you don't know that light, maybe you're saying, listen, I don't understand, I don't get this idea of Jesus. I want you to know that he loves you, he died for you, and he wants to save you. And if you want that this morning, all you have to do is simply say this. Not the words exactly that I say, those don't pray you, those don't save you, but it's believing what you pray. You say, God, I know that I've sinned. I recognize you now as my Savior. I know that you've saved me. You've given me grace. And I want to ask you into my life to change me. I want to start serving you now. I want to start being the light into the world that you've called me to be. Thank you for saving me. If that's anyone this morning, you say, Aaron, I asked Christ into my life, and I just want to let you know, without making a big show out of it, I just want to pray for you. Slip your hand up, put it back down, so we can pray for you as a church. Is there anyone say, Aaron, I asked Christ into my life this morning, and I just want to let you know. I want to pray for you this morning. Is there anybody at all? Anybody at all? Awesome. Father, thank you so much for this opportunity. I pray now that we would be that light you've called us to be. Help us to be faithful to you in everything that we do.